This morning, we're going to do something a little bit different. So this is a day filled with arts.
Urban Arts Partnership is an education organization that uses the arts to change the way subject matter is taught in public school classrooms. So that's our mission, is to change the way the arts are viewed in a way that they are central to learning and that every young person has the right to a first-class education.
Our young people have a unique challenge who come out of poverty. There is an academic gap, and that gap is accompanied by an opportunity deficit. So our work speaks to both of those problems and is the solution to both of them.
The reason why urban arts exists is to close that achievement gap. What we really try and do is to use the creative arts as a vehicle for transformation and change and ultimately empowerment and self-discovery to bring about change in our communities.
Say it out loud, yo. All right, start from the top.
We bring a teaching artist into the classroom that then collaborates with that classroom teacher. And by integrating the arts into the core curriculum, we bring that curriculum to life.
We take the songs and the soundscape of what students are listening to right now, and then just insert content.
So it's like you have these hot beats with like these great songs about the Cold War or you know, Marco Polo, and then the kids, before they know it, they're just like, oh, what's that?
It's engaging, it's lively, you know, it's dynamic, we play games, and it's something that they get validation from, socially, from one another.
Urban Arts hacks the school curriculum, essentially. And that program has, over the past 5 years, helped thousands of students rewrite their futures.
It went beyond my expectations. And when you see students engaged in an activity and you see like those lights come on, it was transformative.
Suddenly, a history class is not just a history class, it's something else. And that light bulb goes off and they connect to their learning.
Once they have tasted that, once they have had a small success, then they're aware that they have more choices than they thought they did.
Life changes when you know that you can, when you know that you have the tools, you have everything that you need to make it happen.
The avenues open up and the possibilities open up, and that's what UAP is doing at the biggest level, is providing these incredible opportunities for them to shine and define their own futures.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you all for coming out today, guys. And thank you guys for joining me on stage. I'm excited to talk about Urban Arts Partnership, which I think is an amazing program, and that's certainly borne out by some of those statistics that I was looking at. What is it, Philip? 2 out of 3 urban arts students retook the standardized test after taking your prep and passed?
Yeah, in fact, even more than that. Last year was more like 73%.
I mean, Rosie, Phil, when you see numbers like that, when you see data like that, how does that make you feel about getting behind this program?
Well, I mean, when you see data like that, it just proves that that young people, especially underserved young people of color, they need a curriculum that is relevant to them and engaging, and it just proves that that the arts have a big essential role in public education. And you know, every kid has a right to first-class education. That's the promise of this country, and that's what we try to deliver on.
Well, Rosie, you're a co-founder of the organization, right? So yes. What prompted all of this? What prompted the origins of Urban Arts Partnership?
Well, Amy Rosenfeld-Pooks, this was her baby. She was a teacher, and she had retired early, but she still wanted to be part of the learning process and the teaching process, and be part of the kids' learning. And she was working out of Crown Heights, Brooklyn. And at that time, there was a conflict that was occurring in the community between the Hasidic community and the African American community. And the kids of that community were getting caught in the crossfire. They really didn't understand what was going on. So what she decided to do was put a camera in the kids' hands and said, why don't you make a documentary out of this? We're going to teach you how to do a documentary and figure out and help you figure out what's going on. And what that accomplished was, one, it had the kids be engaged and be a part of their community. Two, excuse me, it taught them the history of the community, the history of New York, the history of the Hasidic community, African American community, how they all came to Brooklyn. So there you have current events, you have social studies, you have history lessons, and then you have the media arts, all in one. And she knew she was onto something, but she needed money. So she called me up. And I said, I don't got money, I still live in Brooklyn. Don't believe the hype, you know? And I was like, how much a year? Oh my goodness. And so I started, you know, reaching out to a lot of my political friends, activist friends, friends that had money. And I also helped create the program from the point of view of how do we keep them engaged? How do we respect this child? And the way what I saw in these kids was that I understood them because I was one of them. I was of color, I was poor, and I lived in a shitty neighborhood. And you are born into that situation. You're not responsible for that situation. You're born in that situation, but you get punished. You get punished by poor education, poor environment, dangerous environment, all of these things, and the worst of all is that you get judged. You get judged as soon as you walk out of your house, and you get judged as soon as you walk into that school, as soon as you walk into that classroom. Even if there are teachers that are wonderful, and there are teachers that are wonderful, that have the best intentions, that kid is still carrying that angst when they walk into school. And Philip said earlier, you know, whether that kid is, whether they're being judged or whether they perceive they're being judged, it's still an issue, it's still a problem. So that's what I really brought to the organization. When we were hiring staff members and teaching artists, I wanted them to be sure that what they were doing was providing opportunity. And they had to understand that once they gave that opportunity to that child would rise each and every time. So therefore, you cannot come into this program as an adult, as a teacher, with any preconceived notions of who that child is. And I started creating the dance program, and I created the media lab program, which has expanded way beyond my imagination. And I also really taught our staff how to beg for money, so, which is really hard because you got to kiss a lot of butt. And you have to put your ego aside for the kids. And that was very difficult, and it was a learning curve for me because, believe it or not, I could be kind of brash sometimes or in my delivery.
You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. And I really, you know, this program not only gives to kids, it also has given to me and given to all of us as adults. Because I had to bring my A game. I had to address my own issues because I didn't want me to be an obstacle in any kind of way. And by the time we got to our second school, we almost went under. And believe it or not, I called up my friend Rosie O'Donnell, and I said, we need money, and she put me on her show. And I just begged for money. And the councilman on the arts at the time, Dick Schwartz, he gave us a grant, and the public gave us so much money. Wow. We got, because I only had 30 seconds to talk, because I wasn't a booked guest, and I was nervous, so I just said, you could give us anything. I'll take $1, I'll take 5, I'll take 10. We got $1 bills, you know, $5, $10, $20, and it was enough to keep us throughout the year. And it was so incredible, you know, and So it was very humbling. It was very humbling. But that was my contribution, and we had enough money to hire really qualified and really dedicated people who really care about children and about education. And as the years went on, I kind of took more of a back seat. I didn't have to be there all the time and drive everybody crazy. And then when Philip came, he just, sorry, I'm going to brag about you. He just changed everything. That's okay. You know, he just really took us to a different level, to where we are now. It wasn't no longer 5 people in a room trying to come up with a program. You know, we have, it is, as you can see from the video, it's a viable company. It's a respected charity that is recognized not only now by the public and the masses, but more importantly, it's recognized by corporations, and it's recognized by our government, and we need all of that. And I like to say I'm just like the queen of Brooklyn, if you will. I'm the figurehead now. So I take more of a back seat, but I'm still annoy everybody. I still am on top of everyone, and still call Philip and drive him crazy and boss him around, even though he's my boss.
Well, it's so amazing to see you talking about all of this sitting next to Lady Logic, who is the student who you were just describing, who came out of UAP and you're going to college in the fall?
Yeah, I move in September 4th and I start on the 8th at LIU Brooklyn.
So what was it like being a student in the UAP?
It was very empowering, because my first steps in there, everybody was just like, hey, how are you? What's your name? Let me get to know you. You seem nice. You seem fun. I like fun. Like, so I wanted to originally do poetry, and then I wanted to do media, and then I wanted to do this, and it wasn't even about just wanting to dabble into everything. It was about I wanted to learn these arts, and they made it possible for me to learn these arts, learn who I am, and learn what type of artist I want to be. And it also turned me into the student I want to be, because there were conversations that was held, like in my poetry class. My mentor, Aja Monet, we would just step in class, and she'd be like, okay, get out your notebook. Get out a notebook. Okay, what does your blackness mean to you? And those type of questions with so many issues going around, those shaped me into what type of artist am I? What type of person am I? Or what type of student can I be? What type of daughter am I? What type of college student would I be able to become? And these types of conversations are very important, and they happened, and that was just enough to keep us going. And then it was like everybody checked in on us. Even if everybody knew our names and everybody checked in on us. Armando, he checked in on us. Philip, he'll peep his head and check in, and he'll know. And I've seen Rosie around the office many of times, and it was just like, she's here. She's here. And UAP really shaped me into the person, because I came from a background where these conversations didn't happen, and within my home and also within my shelter. So coming from shelter to shelter throughout New York City and being in the shelter in the Bronx, there was no conversations. Everybody, it was a closed door community. We closed our doors, whatever happened in our unit happened in our unit. There was no conversation, it was just silence, and it was almost like the jail type of silence, where you know there was danger, but you didn't want to speak on it because you didn't want to get into it. But once I stepped outside of that and I went to school and I came to UAP afterwards, it was like I could speak and I had a voice, and they let me have my voice.
I mean, Rosie, how does hearing that make you feel?
Oh, I'm verklempt. That makes me feel wonderful inside. I have goosebumps. You know, it's so funny. Opportunity and validation, it goes hand in hand. It goes hand in hand, and I think that we were talking earlier, there are so many kids that fall through the cracks. And because they get easily dismissed, if someone's living in a shelter and they have to go to school, just waking up is hell. Just fighting depression is hell. And you're underage. And you don't have the proper outlets to release all of that. And not her, because she's like budding sunshine. But there are some kids that can't express that or don't emote that. And that breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because you never know who that kid could be. And that's what she's talking about, that she was allowed to be all that she can be. And there's something that the director, theater director and film director George C. Wolfe once told me before I was doing my first play at the Public. I was scared, and he saw it, and I was fronting. I resorted back to my old weapons as a child of acting aloof. You know, just, I don't care. This is not a big deal that I'm doing my first play ever at the Public. And he saw right through me. And he said to me, push through your fears and step into your greatness. It's right in front of you, but you got to make that first step. This girl did this. She pushed through everything. And she's just wonderful. And just imagine if she didn't have that opportunity to be this wonderful. I'm sure you would have gotten there on your own. May have took you a little longer, but you know, you just have that. And so that's what it makes me feel. It makes me feel proud of Urban Arts Partnership and all the people that work so hard for so little money to just change a life. And it just makes me so happy, and I'm so happy that you're going to college and that you look very cute today.
Thank you.
And you're going to college, but you also got a scholarship to go to college. You know, the whole, you know, right? Talk about that.
So there's a scholarship at UAP that takes place every year. It's called the Nagler Scholarship. And it basically gives you $10,000 a year for 4 years to deal with basically anything under the sun, like dorm fees, you know, dorm fees is housing. Dorm fees, you know, tuition, anything that you want to use it for college, but you have to use it, you know, for your college education. I went through that process this year. It's a grueling process. Describe the process. The process, there was a series of questions, a packet of questions, the Bible, and I remember Armando was with us trying to go through the pack. You know, these are the questions. This is what you have to do. And one thing that stuck with me, he said, "Be honest. Out of everything, be honest when you answer these questions." Because they can see through you, and they will see through you, because some of the people, you know, they may know you, you don't know. So you don't want to lie your way into something that you deserve or could deserve. So I went through that process.
Everyone deserves it. It's just a contest, but everyone deserves it.
Everyone does. And I went through that, and I remember writing essays for each question, just essays. Like, I wanted to make sure that they knew me, not on paper, but as a person as well. So I tried to put as much as me into it. Like I said, I left nothing out. And then in the panel, they was just coming at me with questions. I was just giving them all I have, like all of my truth. And then we're in a round table, and Armando's like, you know, the recipient of 2015 is, and I'm over here like, Jesus help me, Jesus help me. And, you know, they called my name, and I was just like, I was dumbfounded. But I was happy that, you know, I knew where I was going to go afterwards. Like, I knew I was going to college. I knew I had help, and I knew that I made the right decision from day one stepping into urban arts. And they made it so that way every person in urban arts had this opportunity. You just had to take it. And that's one of the things that they also taught me. They taught me how to be hungry for things, because you don't want to starve yourself, and not just as a person, but as an artist. So you have to be hungry for things, and you can't lose that, because once you lose that hunger, then you're not gonna want to go after certain things. And laziness has taken over like a lot of like my peers and just people around me that I see. So one thing that I know I have is I have a deep hunger. I go after any opportunity, and going after opportunities is the first step. And I'm glad I got the scholarship, because now I get to leave. It gave me opportunities to leave the shelter. I'm using the money for my dorm, and I'm leaving the shelter, and it's nice to know that I'm not chained to a system anymore. Or that system.
Well, Philip, you've been running UAP since 2003. Was the scholarship one of your initiatives?
It was actually, it started in about 2007. One of our founding board members, Niklas Nagler, who was a good friend of Rosie's, who's been around for longer than me, he came to us and he said, I have a little bit of extra money, and I'd like to do something really, really impactful for students who really, really want to take it to the next level and who show real promise, but also a real need. And so it was something that was I created with him in 2007, along with Rosie, who also sits on the panel. So when you're a scholarship, when you want to walk into that room and you're applying for the scholarship and you see Rosie there in front of you, it's time to bring your A game for sure. But yeah, started in 2007.
Well, what other initiatives did you start? Is there one thing that you're most proud of, or that you point to when you're raising money?
I mean, there are many initiatives. One I'm particularly excited about now is one called Story Studio, which just received, as Rosie was saying, from the federal government. We received this thing called an I3 grant. What that means, it means investing in innovation. Very few organizations across the country got that. It's a program for recent immigrant students, English language learners, and we use visual and oral storytelling to help them develop their fluency in the English language, as well as define their own voice in their classroom, in their school. And it's a project that, with this sort of big federal investment, is going to be expanding in New York City, in Los Angeles, and hopefully elsewhere. And it's really not just developing student voice and confidence and all those things that recent immigrants to this country need, but it's also proving that those students are doing better as is necessary. They're doing better on their test scores and on their English language exams. So it's a very, I think, promising project that has a lot of future ahead of it.
And you also do the 24-hour plays.
We do. You want me to talk about that?
No.
Do you want to talk about 24-hour plays?
No, please go. Please.
Okay, 24-hour plays, very quickly. I'll just do the thing and then you do the thing.
Okay.
24 actors, wonderful actors like Rosie Perez, 6 directors and 6 writers, Pulitzer Prize-winning playwrights, come to a theater on Broadway on a Sunday night. In this case, I think it'll be November 6th, 15th this year. And they all come and they sit in a circle, and the actors bring props and talk about parts they've always wanted to play, or things they can or can't do on stage, talents, special talents. And the writers, they sit there and take notes. And then everyone goes home except the writers, and they stay up all night from midnight till 6 a.m., and each of them pens an original play. And everyone comes back the next day and basically rehearses that play all day, and then puts it up on its feet at 8 p.m. that night. So it's an amazing event. It really epitomizes the creative process. It's not amazing. It's terrifying, right?
Yes, it's terrifying. It's grueling. And I have to remind all of the actors every year, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. Yeah. You got to hit them hard, hit them low, keep going. And because it's really difficult. It's really, really hard. But it's a great fundraising event for UAP, and the entire staff and our entire company gets on board, even the students and the alumni. We all volunteer and to put it on. And it's fantastic. And every year there's a contest, a playwriters contest, where one of the students who wins that contest actually gets their play on Broadway. So yeah, so they become part of the process. That's one thing that we do at UAP as well. We try to have the kids create everything that comes out of UAP so that they really feel a part of it and become part of the company as well. and become part of the movement. There's also one thing that I would like to add. Outside of the academic, the arts ed curriculums that we provide and the emotional support and self-esteem building, we also try to help kids become civic-minded leaders. We feel that is really important to help them and encourage them and teach them how to give back in some kind of way. And so that's part of our program as well.
You're getting so much applause today.
Excuse me?
You're getting so much applause today.
Yeah. I love applause. It's okay.
And now we're going to do some questions from the audience.
Hi, my name is Anna Levinson, and my sister actually works at your org.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm a
Eda
huge,
Levinson.
Yes, that's
she's
my
awesome.
sister. Yeah, well, she loves you guys, and I do too. So I guess I'm sitting here working in digital advertising at AOL. How can we in the private sector be partners to you in furthering your mission?
Well, you can make a partnership with Urban Arts immediately, if you like. First on my list, if I may go, Philip, see, even though he's my boss, I boss him.
I am not her boss, for the record.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. One is corporate sponsorship. Money is very, very important because it takes a lot of money to run this program. We employ people that need to make a living, and there are supplies, and it's just so many things. And we're in how many schools?
100.
100 public schools here in New York City. We serve over 12,000 kids per year, and now we're in Los Angeles. So the first is that, but also we have master classes. We have master classes every year, and if you are a professional and you feel that you have something to teach a child, come on down, and we will set up a master class for you. And you would also help them on maybe a piece of work that they're working on either individually or collectively as a group. And the third thing is internships. Just bringing a kid here and just teaching them about this organization and the possibilities for employment. But it also, internships for me is also not just about learning a skill, it's also learning about responsibility, getting up in the morning, because you know, as adults, you hate getting up in the morning, you know, and looking presentable and being assertive. We teach that. That's why everybody was all up in her grill when she came, her first day. We do teach that. Be assertive, introduce yourself, ask about the other person. That's what good manners are about. So those are on my list. That's what you guys could do.
I would just also quickly add that we're an awesome organization, but we're still growing and quite a quiet organization. We're about to launch a campaign. So back to your question about what can AOL do, we're looking for partners to sort of, you know, build an awareness campaign for UAP. We've got a lot of great creative. I mean, the campaign's just, you know, about a month away from launching. So if anyone wants to give us free digital marketing space, anything like that, where we can build the awareness of UAP as sort of, you know, a national need to bring the arts back into public schools, then we need you.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to you for opening my eyes to UAP. My name's Steve. I'm a special education teacher here in the city, and I was just wondering, how do I get the program into my classroom?
Where do you teach?
56th and 3rd, P169.
Okay. Is that a District 75 school?
It is, yes.
Okay. Well, we work very closely with District 75. So we have a program called Everyday Arts for Special Education, EASE for short. And we are partnering with many schools in District 75. Apparently not yours yet, but we can easily do that. So as we sign off here, we'll make sure we connect.
And with the principal as well.
Yep.
What's the name of your principal at your school?
Susan Fenn.
Susan Fenn.
Okay.
And before we all leave, how can people watching at home donate?
urbanarts.org. Go straight there. You'll see a beautiful picture of Rosie on the front page. And there's a big round donate button, and it'll take you there in about 2 clicks.
All right, and that's all the time we have today. Thank you guys so much. This has been
Thank you
amazing.
so much. Thank you.
And thank all of you. Everyone have a great day.